Hey, Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Inside Look. I am Tyson Alger. I am joined here today by Ken Woody, and we still have some football to talk about, Ken. The season's still going. The Oregon Ducks emerged victorious from the Orange Bowl with a 23-0 win over Texas Tech. We have the Peach Bowl coming up on Friday in Atlanta. Ken, are you surprised? Are you amazed? Are you thrilled? How are you feeling after this past weekend of football?
I'm thrilled. Two reasons. Beating Texas Tech soundly was a thrill, but watching the manner in which Oregon's defense reported themselves was really cool because it was dominating, and it's amazing when your defense is playing well. It just makes you feel good about everything.
So it was the first postseason shutout for the Ducks since 1917. I believe it was the first shutout in the Orange Bowl since 1992, and it was just a really dominant and what I really think kind of feather in the cap type of performance from not only Tosh Lupoy, but a Dan Lanning defense where, to be frank, this is a coach that when he came in from Georgia, defense was his thing. He was the defensive coordinator of those Bulldogs, one of the best college football teams we've ever seen. They've put up some good numbers over the last 4 years, but for them to come into this caliber of game against this type of opponent that is almost as talented as Oregon is, just how impressed were you by the shutout that they pitched?
Well, I think it's great. And, you know, Oregon's always had a great offense. That's their tradition. The Gang Green group, 94, was a defensive highlight. And in general, the defense does not get the acknowledgement that they have. Lanning came in as a defensive specialist, head coach, and I think that influence has been shown year by year. And that defense, it was like shutout baseball. You know, you could throw a fastball and they're going to strike the guy out.
It was fascinating watching that game too, because especially on Oregon's first possession, the way that Texas Tech's front seven came after them, you kind of thought that Dante Moore and that Oregon front line might be in for a long game, but ultimately the Ducks were able to get enough things done on offense, and the defense made the plays they needed to. But what did you kind of see from that game that you thought maybe the Ducks need to work on here in the days between the Orange and the Peach Bowl?
Well, they got to get the explosion back in their offense, particularly both sides, passing and running. But I was disappointed in the pass protection. They had some issues there, personnel. Texas Tech had some big guys who could really move, who were quick. It kind of surprised me a little bit and may have surprised the Ducks, but they hung in there, got them a couple of field goals, and kept them in the game to where eventually Texas Tech crumbled.
So Oregon gets out of Miami with a 23-0 win. Maybe like me, who left my phone charger at the Airbnb, the Ducks left something in Miami to come back and pick up in a couple of weeks. But in order to do that first, they have to get past a very good Indiana team. The Hoosiers are coming off of a 38-3 Rose Bowl win over Alabama. It's the only team to give Oregon a loss this season. Earlier in the season, back in October, that one was 30-20 in Eugene. And Ken, I know you just rewatched that game, and maybe we thought that game was actually a little bit of a larger spread than it was when you actually watched it the second time?
My feeling after that game was that Oregon had been out-physicaled and had really been, made mincemeat on the line of scrimmage. And, that game was 20-20 going into the fourth quarter, and that ended up being just a disaster for the Ducks. So I came out of there saying, there are things that are very easily fixable, and Oregon did not play their greatest game offensively against Texas Tech. So in that regard, I expect them to improve. So I'm much more encouraged. Normally I do not predict a score or anything like that, and I don't have a score, but I believe that Oregon's going to beat Indiana. One of the reasons is because the Indiana coach came out and said it's hard to beat a team that you've defeated twice in a season, and that's good. They need to kind of think about that.
From that kind of adage or cliche of it's hard to beat a team twice in 1 year, what do you think the Ducks can be better at, knowing what they're getting into now against the Hoosiers?
They can be better in a lot of things. Offensively, they went into the playoffs with the most explosive offense in the country. They had a couple plays against Texas Tech. I didn't see them trying a lot, though. I'd like to see them use that speed in the secondary. And Dante Moore is maybe the best passer in the country at the 25-yard completion. Getting it right on the button. I'd like to see more of that. So they need to get that going defensively. Indiana is kind of they're like body punchers. They punch you, then all of a sudden, and they have skill players that can make great plays. But in the Oregon game, they didn't make a lot of great plays. And as a matter of fact, one of their winning touchdown, it appeared that the receiver pushed off. Surratt did in the end zone. So offensively, they need to play their game, and that means try to play your game, which means, hey, throw it deep. Use those guys and be intelligent when it comes down to going for it. And when you do decide to go for it with a play that's going to go against nearly any defense they can run.
Once again, the Ducks are facing a pretty darn good quarterback and Heisman Trophy winner now, Fernando Mendoza. I've been continually impressed with his ability. He's not a runner. He's not a scrambling type of quarterback, but with his size and his athleticism, he is athletic enough to keep plays alive, and he always keeps his eyes downfield. He's able to extend plays. What challenges do you think that presents for the Ducks, especially in some of those maybe key third down situations where it seemed like Indiana was cleaning up last time?
Well, he's a lot like the Iowa quarterback, who is not going to be a sprinter on the team, but if you leave the middle open, he can gallop. And the same thing with the Indiana guy. I think that the Ducks need to, for example, if you're going to blitz, we're in man-to-man. There was a situation against Indiana where there were 5 defensive backs in the game, and as the quarterback is dropping back to pass, every one of them is just zeroed in on their receiver. They have no idea that where the quarterback's looking or whether he's getting ready to throw or not. And he ends up, there was one case they threw the ball and they got the first down, but there was another time where quarterback scrambled. And that's the tough thing about defense, especially playing man-to-man. You need to be locked in on what he's doing, but it can't be to the absence of anything else. It's like when they run. You got to be able to come off and make the play. So there needs to be good ball awareness.
So lookout photographer Isaac Wasserman and I will be on a flight first thing in the morning to Atlanta tomorrow. We're going to be at mercy of probably the media food buffet the next 2 days. Take us through what's the spread looking at the Woody household for this game on Friday?
Well, you're talking about point spread or maybe the food spread.
I don't care about the point spread, Ken. I'm all about the food.
Well, I just say that you need to make sure you're wearing lots of Expando pants, and you're not going to need a belt.
Well, the Ducks are 1 win away from their 3rd national championship appearance in program history. As we just outlined, it's quite the mountain that they have to climb in order to get there first, but followed all of our work along at lookouteugene-springfield.com. You can follow me on my socials at Tyson Alger. Ken, do you have socials?
No, I'm keeping it cool.
He's keeping it here at Inside Look, and we'll be happy to be back next week.